Hey guys, it's Quincy, coming to you from the XDC Foundation, here to announce a new partnership between XinFin and Tradeteq. Now, Tradeteq is a financial technology company that allows for traditional institutions to be able to take their already established assets, tokenize them, and then be able to tap into broader liquidity by being able to list those on decentralized networks. This ends up being quite great because this allows for a native bridge between the traditional infrastructures and the blockchain infrastructures, and it allows them to be able to very easily hop onto these networks without essentially having to do it themselves. Now, XinFin is able to take these different agreements and tokenize them, whether it's just simply their assets, whether it's agreements, and they can use those tokens as verification methods to make sure that certain agreements are happening in the capacity that they need to be happening, while at the same time being able to govern essentially these digital economies and these digital agreements through smart contracts to make sure all rules that need to be enforced are able to get enforced.
XinFin and Tradeteq are addressing a multi-trillion-dollar market and trying to build native bridges to tokenization for banks and other financial institutions to take assets already held and convert them into tokens to make them more readily available for market participants that reside also on the network. This allows there to be a standardization to tokenization for trade finance tools within banks, brokers, or other financial entities to be able to build more accessible trade economies on these decentralized networks, while also being able to bring liquidity to their already established businesses by being able to tap into the broader participation of a decentralized net. This also lets participants convert sensitive data into digital identities for reference among multiple participants that reside on the XCC blockchain for verification of creation by counterparties. Also allow for the rest of the world to participate in these markets by providing liquidity and staking capital, or be able to raise capital or borrow against the tokens with ease. It's as simple as two parties coming together to create a smart contract to regulate their agreement between the tokens that they've created, whether these tokens are just simply assets or they're just representations of different agreements associated by different counterparties so people can authenticate with each other in a native manner. In this diagram, we'll have the corporate entity interacting with the trade finance originator. Now, this will allow them to service repackaging their off-chain financial assets in a manner for them to be able to handle them as tokens. Then, when interacting with the corporate trustee, they're able to convert those into tokens, now being able to manage those traditional assets as token representations. The wallet provider for these traditional assets can essentially run whatever KYC needed in order to be able to hold these assets, now allowing for there to be a mechanism for people to be able to check all the different know your customer requirements in order for people to be able to handle these digital tokens. And in that, you're able to essentially allow individuals with digital wallets that are able to go through the right criteria to be able to have access to tokenized assets in a manner that they wouldn't have had before. It's an absolute game changer in regards to how adoption is going to take over.
Now, in terms of adoption, this ends up being huge because this allows for any sort of financial institution to be able to move over to blockchain technology without essentially having them to go through all the heavy lifting themselves. They can essentially utilize these certain tools to be able to get the maximum amount of efficiency with the minimum amount of effort that they would need to put in for their own sake, while at the same time being able to utilize their partnerships, their already assets that they have established, and their already established networks. So this allows them to be able to take that bridge from traditional to blockchain without really having to take that risk associated with going from traditional into blockchain. And this ends up being one of the biggest things because, well, right now, in terms of being able to move traditional infrastructures over to blockchain infrastructures is a huge risk. And in this allows them to be able to do it with ease.